Hey fellas, Onus here, and welcome back to With Why. And if you have any money in the stock market, it's probably at least partially in an Nvidia. Nvidia has kind of been riding this high of like the AI bubble where it's like they make the cards that everybody who is actually making the AI needs. And because of that, when the bubble inevitably pops, they'll probably come out, if not like as rich as they currently are, at least the winner over it, because they're at least providing a material product that people are buying. But before all this AI stuff, Nvidia was primarily known for gaming. They created like the top of the line graphics cards that if you made a gaming PC, you would stick the card inside of the PC and Nvidia would have the best one. Unfortunately, prices are going up and there's no new graphics cards in sight because of AI like hogging all the fucking supply. But as part of the forays into gaming, Nvidia also did like a lot of software innovation where like there are drivers you need for new games like you gotta install. And like another major thing they were doing that is AI powered was something called DLSS. And basically what they were doing was they would take like a frame being generated in the game and they would like upscale it to a higher resolution. And honestly, I think this is like one of the better arguments for what good AI can do. From my understanding, I could be wrong, but it like was generative, but it allowed worse graphics cards to produce higher quality images, which you could argue would be like a lower amount of electricity requirements than a graphics card rendering a game at 4K resolution. The software that did this was called DLSS, and honestly, like, it's been super useful, like, when I'm playing games and, like, trying to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Even on a card as old as the one that I'm running on this PC, not my, like, main one. My main PC, I'm still meaning to switch over entirely to my newer one. I have a 2080, so, like, DLSS was a godsend for a lot of newer games to get, like, the picture quality that I wanted. And DLSS has been rolled out in iterations. So there was, like, DLSS 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then, like, AMD and even PlayStation have their equivalent of the same technology. But recently, Nvidia rolled out DLSS 5, and it is not just upscaling shit. It is like straight up doing AI filter over existing gameplay footage shit, and it looks awful. Let's check out their announcement video for some more details. Announcing Nvidia DLSS 5, an AI-powered breakthrough in visual fidelity for games coming this fall. DLSS 5 infuses pixels with photorealistic lighting and materials, bridging the gap between rendering and reality. And the main hang-up here is what they fucking did to Grace Ashcroft from Resident Evil Requiem. DLSS 5 off, and then you turn that bitch on, and who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is that? Like, that's just straight up a completely different person. It does look like AI-generated scam ads that you'd see all over, like, TikTok or Instagram Reels, because that's what you want games to look like, right? I'm not entirely sure if this was something signed off on by Capcom before it actually went out, or if this was them just testing the technology on games that are recent they had access to. I guess in, like, some sense, this is technically more photo-real, but I don't think that's what I want if this is the overall look of the whole thing, especially like when you see it in motion. Like, the motions are just so much more stiff because it's generating it on a frame-by-frame basis. And it's not just upscaling what's already there, it's doing additive touches over top of what it is generating. And it loses the aesthetic of the original game and adds like this uncanny AI sheen that at this point we're all familiar with and will probably get scammed by at least once by the time we're dead. And the weird thing is like, it looks way worse on Grace Ashcroft versus Leon, and it kind of like puts into focus how AI models are trained on women versus men's faces. Like, look at this. DLSS 5 off, do the swipe, turn it on, and like, it doesn't look as bad. Like, this looks like it could be in motion as like a CGI generated cutscene. Still, not how I would prefer to see it, and there was nothing really wrong with the image with DLSS off. Leon looks a lot better in motion because he doesn't have this weird yassified filter put over top, man. They go on to some more examples like Hogwarts Legacy, and this is how they fucking do an old person. Bro, she did not look like that. She did not look this fucking old before the filter got turned on. What the hell are we doing? Yeah, show me one more, why not? Like, the guy on the left looks significantly worse than the guy on the right. Like, there's this really artificial sheen given to his entire face. And I guess the goblin on the right just suffers less from this sheen being put over him because there's less, I guess, goblins to train data off of, and so the model itself gets less incestuous. But the guy in the foreground is just being absolutely fucked up. Like, he was definitely flattered, like, on the first pass, but I don't know, man. I don't think this looks good, or especially in motion, it'll be consistent and, like, not not uncanny to look at. Like, you can fall into any respective game style given it enough time with it. Like, whether it's 3D models or like a 2D world, you'll just kind of get used to the aesthetic of the thing that you're playing, because in motion it'll at least be cohesive. Here, it just fucking falls apart. The next example they go for is Starfield. Everybody who plays this game definitely wanted it in there. I think this might be the least egregious, like, in-motion example, but it's still, like, really uncanny, even worse than the game models. And that's not saying much, considering, like, how much it falls apart if you, like, just keep watching it. Like, I can't even imagine how this is gonna feel to play with if you are, like, walking around, man. Like, we are looking at still shots of these guys talking, and then it goes from video game with a dev team behind it into what is, I assume, an AI-generated TikTok that I immediately swipe past because I know that's a fake person. And of course, you gotta show FIFA, man. Or, sorry, EA Sports Football Club. And I think this is even more uncanny because these are real people you have the training data for to, like, generate a face on top of, and I just don't like it, man. Like, the stills aren't so bad on their own, but I think it would be better if we just actually push development tools to be able to do this in-house, as opposed to, like, putting an AI filter over it, which is just really uncanny and, like, has all the issues that come with using generative AI and things that, like, we already all understand. Alright, they turned DLSS on after he already did major emotes. Now show us him, like, celebrating with DLSS on. What's that gonna look like? Oh, that looks fucking terrible. Oh my god, and they didn't even show, like, the expressions he was gonna make, or was making in the scene prior. Obviously, this went down pretty poorly with a lot of people. Why is everyone upset? It can't look that bad. Sweet mother of God, what the fuck? And that was like seeing the Grace Ashcroft face just get put on her. Like, man, it doesn't look anything like her. Like, you aged her at least 10 years. She's vaguely Wasian now. Is she Wasian in the game? I don't fucking know. It just looks like those edits like Chuds will make, where they'll say, if a game wasn't woke, and then they give the main character from Horizon Zero Dawn like just a bunch of fucking makeup that everybody who saw that image originally knew wouldn't translate to motion. It didn't fit the setting at all. A major controversy that kind of splintered off of this was Digital Foundry, a channel known for doing like spec and game performance breakdowns, like in really in-depth technicals, that was pretty respected as far as I'm aware, just glazing the fuck out of DLSS 5.
Point of contact was this particular image of Resident Evil Requiem, where we saw this sequence here. So that's the original past-facing version that you're seeing there, and then kind of like the DLSS 5 take on it. Oliver, what do you think of this? Because this is like quite extraordinary. We honestly, when we saw this for the first time, we didn't know actually what DLSS 5 was.
Yeah, this just blew me away. So basically you have Grace there in this scene. This is kind of a very famous scene from the beginning of the game.
Like, I can imagine some wonder at the technological achievement of being able to do this sort of thing in real time, like having it actually respond to the movements you're making, but in these still shots, it just falls apart, like even as she's like taking breaths and has her hand on her backpack. Like, the frame-to-frame movement itself is very clearly being generated, like, individually, at least I'm pretty sure, because they just don't connect in a way that the game originally designed it to. We've brought back our zoomer screenshot tool and loaded up a range of DLSS 5 on and off comparisons from a range of games. Check it out. It's just AI slop filter on top. Like, AI is already photoreal, we understand this. But like in the same way that like when somebody sticks a fucking Jujutsu Kaisen animation block into the tool and says that they improved it by changing the style, it just looks fucking terrible because it lacks all the art design that came with it. Like, it has no care for like what the actual intention of the way things were animated are, why characters look the way they do, and just like takes a fucking guess at that sort of thing. Apparently an editor and senior staff writer for Digital Foundry posted something to Blue Sky complaining about this and then deleted it. This is John Linneman. I've heard the name before, but I wasn't super familiar with him. He just posted ellipses and then like started talking more about the shit that like he had no idea this was going out. Somebody responded to him, "Just know nobody is angry at you for this, man. People are surprised that Digital Foundry of all sites is praising this. People love the content you do." Then John Linneman says, "Yeah, they fucking are. The messages I'm seeing are horrendous. I hate this. I hate AI, and I hate that it has turned people into this. Dude, I didn't have any control over this. I was blindsided by it." And then apparently in a separate post he said, "I didn't do shit. I had nothing to do with any any of this. Fuck, I discovered this today right before you in the same video. You had people saying they were disappointed in Digital Foundry for like going to these lengths to glaze. And I want to be clear, like as all the issues AI has, I pretty much agree with, but there is like some wonder in the fact that technology has come far enough to make something so disgusting possible. And like if they took it from that angle and not like presenting it as like some genuine improvement instead of like just shitifying the look of the games and undermining the work of the artist who programmed and animated and modeled all these things, you're not upscaling the work they've already done. You're literally like copy and pasting over it. And I'm not surprised that Nvidia ended up like going to that point eventually with how much of a vested interest they have in like Gen AI being everywhere and succeeding. Like, do you think Jensen Huang, CEO of Nvidia, wants his like valuation of his company and his net worth to go down? No, he like wants to see this shit expand forever. I think Pookie Show said it pretty well. They're not the same person. Resident Evil may be pseudo-realistic, but it does have an art style. If you choose to play any game with a shitty AI filter plastered over the work of real artists, you deserve to never play video games again. I think if it's like gonna be a thing that's like shoved in games that we are playing, regardless of if we want it to be there or not, I might show it on a Discord call to laugh at it and then immediately go back after I'm like having my gag reflex activated. And then like what followed was a lot of people doing jokes about DLSS, and like it's almost the equivalent of RTX on, except RTX actually offered genuine improvements and was done like by the graphics card to improve like lighting and shit. Morkel at GDC gave us an update on an old comic he made. You have the 2003 version of like all this shit, and then like with 300 FPS looks like shit, but it's working. And then in 2026, Hairworks, FXAA, DLSS, anti-aliasing, bloom, and it just looks fucking this in a still photoreal shit. Dude, look, Dickface's health bar has 2 different colors in it now. I'm not sure if this was photo bashed or like he actually 3D modeled this off his original image, but I do really love the detail of the sword that like the player is holding in the left side image turning into a fucking lake. Just really brings it together of like how AI just kind of takes what's on screen and interprets it in a way that is probably incredibly different from the actual intended visual. I want to be clear, I'm still like a fan of AI upscaling for all the reasons I mentioned earlier, but DLSS getting tied in with this fucking stupid beautification filter sucks, man. Nvidia did give like a sort of response in the comments of the YouTube post of this upload. Important to note with this technology advance, game developers have full, detailed artistic control over DLSS 5's effects to ensure they maintain their game's unique aesthetic. The SDK includes things like intensity, color grading, and masking off places where the effect shouldn't be applied. It's not a filter. DLSS 5 inputs the game's color and motion vectors for each frame into the model, anchoring the output in the source 3D content. And all of that could be true, but come on, we saw the before and after, the one that Nvidia was literally showcasing as like what the technology is capable of, and it looks like absolute doo-doo water. I guess like at least if it's opt-in, like the pushback people are generally giving towards this shit will like put off a lot of developers, hopefully, from making it like the default or using it in their games. But I don't know, man, AI is such a Pandora's box that I feel like the creep of this doesn't really have a lot to do with how much we vocally say we hate it. It's just going to like worm its way into every aspect of our lives, whether we care for it or not. Maximilian dude had some input on the response. Don't buy this. They did a full demonstration and reveal the way it was because they thought it looked great. If it looked bad, they would have just waited to have the devs show off how good it could look. Gen AI isn't here to produce art. It's tricking you into thinking it is. And like, yeah, like why not have a developer showcase of how they've artfully used this to enhance their artistic vision and like upscale and like maybe apply some shit to a design like humans created as opposed to the way it was shown. A really shitty before and after, which I guess that's how Nvidia has always done it with things like RTX, that they probably just didn't think about it that hard. Among Us got in on the action and just flamed them a little bit, where it's like DLSS off, like it's just normal ass Among Us, and then DLSS on, they become a JoJo character. As far as I can tell, actually drawn by a guy, but that weird AI sheen like emulated and applied. And then you had Nvidia in the replies trying to be fucking cute about it. DLSS 5, not sus. Bro, we're not on your fucking side. This shit sucks. I'm sorry, social media manager. I know this is your job, but you could have chosen not to reply and not get flamed. It looks like trash. And like, I want to be the guy who says maybe there's like an artful and good way this can be applied down the line, but I don't have hopes that high from a company like Nvidia, whose the majority of their fucking value comes from like the AI shit they're doing with companies like ChatGPT and fucking Anthropic and Google to generate the slop that we have been trained to fucking hey, because it looks like shit in every other part of our lives, and now you're like, let's stick it in video games, the part of our company we've often neglected in favor of the more profitable sector. DLSS looks incredible. Nvidia has revolutionized gaming once again. Gordon Freeman has been turned into Charlie Kirk. Fucking can't, dude. I would have preferred this alternative where it gets turned into Dr. House. Nvidia presents DLSS 5. I'm pretty sure this is an image from like the Dust Bowl, but with DLSS on, now everybody's smiling and has like a huge like makeup sheen over them, man. Wow, what an impressive and really necessary technology. AI upscaling is truly like one of the best examples of how this technology can be used well in a consumer-friendly way. Hey, you can get better imaging for less hardware power, which is sick on its face. It's been the standard for years, even before like Gen AI was like publicly so accessible to everybody to make photoreal images. And they're like, let's just stick the worst parts of AI directly into one of like the only good arguments for its usage. Just a waste of fucking resources, man. It is like genuinely frustrating. Sorry for going on for a bit long about this, fellas. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at @withAY. That email's in the description if you guys want to send me any video topics. Anyways, piss off.